What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1070 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here once again with my guest co-host for the day. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Olivia. Yet again, I am here. I've graced you with... No, I'm kidding. But hi, guys.
Oh, you should have finished that sentence.
I didn't want to say that. That sounded too...
graced you with my presence.
No, but I'm gracing Brett with my presence.
There, yeah, that's perfectly
as
fine.
I always do.
There you go. We have a 20. Before we get into anything here, let's read this one really quick from Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Who says, "Today I had an incredible chat with an Aboriginal homeless man in my city. He has a speech issue. He made more sense than the media and the prime minister we have. He agreed that stolen land ceremonies are dumb."
Yeah, go him.
You agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Do you have like strong thoughts on land acknowledgements?
I mean, it's more like the just being like, oh, like, you're on stolen land. Oh, it's a stolen land. Like, shut up, you were conquered. I don't know what you want from me. It's more about the idea of, like, it's stolen, not conquered land. That's how the world has worked for many a millennia. And so for people to be
yes,
like,
we were typically always at war.
Land. Yes, and we were typically always taking land, not stealing it, conquering it. So, I mean, I'm glad there's at least an Aboriginal out there who agrees. That's a step in the right direction, no?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Thank you for that one, Katie. Guys, hit the like button on this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. I'm working my way up to the episode today. Yesterday was one of those days where it's like sometimes right before you go live, you're like, okay, this is working. This is a good one. I'm still finding my way to that today. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember to share this episode out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, the people in your life that you like, the people in your life that you don't like.
But you got to argue in the comments if you're going to invite them in here.
You always want to be arguing in the comments with them. That's what I appreciate.
Always.
So do that, and we can get into what we're going to get into today. So what are we going to talk about? Well, first and foremost is the home wreckers have broken up. Now, I wasn't even sure about covering the story because Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater, or SpongeBob as he is unaffectionately called by many people, it doesn't interest me personally one iota, but I think it speaks to what we consider to be socially acceptable when somebody who is part of what you'd call a cheating scandal. I think it's more of what they'd call an overlap scandal. Nobody quite knows when they broke up with their wives or husbands because they were both married beforehand, before getting together and dating. But the sad fact of the matter is that Ethan Slater was married to his high school sweetheart. He had just had a child.
And it was like a really traumatic birth.
And he left them to be with Ariana Grande. So, I don't know, maybe he's attracted to quarters, things that look invisible when they turn sideways. The point of the matter is we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it means, all that stuff. There's some details with that. That will be an interesting discussion. We are also going to talk about Idris Elba, the one who so many, for so long, have said that they think should play James Bond. Now, I never personally held that belief myself. I always thought he would make a fantastic James Bond villain. I think the same about Henry Cavill personally, but I also have now come around on Henry Cavill. But Idris Elba has said that he does not think the next James Bond should be woke. Those were his words, not mine. You know I don't like that word. I find it ill-fitted for actual description since everybody has a different definition of it. And one thing that I think is true is that whether through sheer force from Hollywood, more and more people have just kind of acquiesced to race swapping and have decided that that doesn't necessarily qualify as woke. You guys know that I never have really held that belief. I've always said that as long as they don't make race a central part of the story, that race swaps were never really a problem for me. Now, to be fair, not a whole bunch of franchises that I was deeply affectionate about have been readapted in a way that did a race swap. For instance, if they remade Mighty Ducks and they made Gordon Bombay black, would I be upset? I have no idea. It's yet to happen. We'll have to wait and see. But we'll get into all of Idris's comments. We'll talk about it. We are also going to talk about Hugh Laurie, who has decided to come out and dunk on this lady for doing one of the worst things a human being could possibly do on Earth. And that is, of course, insult the show House MD. And in this house, we like the show House. Here.
It's fine.
There you go. She's ambivalent about it, but I like it a lot.
I like some parts. I hate House, the character, but I like everything else.
And it does not fall on the bingo card today because it's a topic in the show, so you don't get to... How about that?
That's
is that
true.
fair?
Yes, that is entirely fair because this was something he found yesterday. I'm sorry. I know I always sit up more once we actually start the show.
I know.
He always does my
Thank
job
you for
before,
acknowledging it.
And then I always sit up more because I lean on the table and get in there, but I just can't do it when you're like, let's get your shot.
It means so much for me that somebody actually acknowledged that they changed.
Especially being the problem. I got you. No, but yeah, it doesn't count if it is a segment on the show. And I saw this news story without Brett sending it to me, so it also counts because it wasn't like you sent it to me and that's how I saw it.
One of these
I actually
days,
saw it on
X?
a news source, like a news outlet, whatever one it was on. I found it on.
One of these days, it'll just be nothing but segments about House, person of interest. Burn notice, white collar.
And then maybe we'll throw in the Sue Thomas FBI.
Perfect.
Because I mentioned that one quite a bit. That's why I'm teaching myself sign language.
So what I've found is, like, for me, when you've done this show as long as I have, I have some of those core shows that I do a lot, and then some that, by virtue of watching them at that time, they end up coming up in shows, but they're not necessarily ones that last after I stop watching it regularly. Those are just the core ones that I watch regularly. For you, that would be The West Wing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if we had it, I think it's on Netflix now.
And it's on HBO Max.
I think I might end up buying it at some point just to, have it and watch it. I have it on DVD. We don't have a DVD player, or I would just watch the DVDs, to be honest with you.
That would give me the ick. You're going to pick up the little disc and put the disc in the player.
And yes, we're going to talk about the ick today, you guys. I'm so excited to talk about icks. Only because, I found some more on X. Did you? I mean, I like talking about people's icks.
Love.
I love when people talk about people's icks, and it's so funny to me because some person's ick is another person's oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
And so I can't wait. We're talking about icks today. We're going to talk about another dating trend today. Sorry, I hijacked there for a second. She brought up icks. We've got a lot to get into, though.
If you're ready, then we can just go. Are you ready?
Born ready.
She's always
I said it to my dad. Sorry, I said born ready. Then I was like, my
there
dad.
You go.
Yeah.
All right, well, then let's go ahead and get started then, ladies and gentlemen. The Grim Reaper is on his way. Look at it right there. The Grim Reaper is on his way from Mortal Kombat to Mandalorian and Grogu to Masters of the Universe. Where will he be heading next? It looks like Supergirl is where the Grim Reaper is headed. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about here, there was a bunch of articles that have come out talking about the upcoming release of Supergirl, which I've covered extensively on this channel. I will give them credit for one thing. Since the release of the final trailer, which I could do a whole video on why final trailers are even a thing, I think they should cut it off at one trailer. I used to be a fan of multiple trailers because I thought that Batman vs. Superman had 3 separate really, really great trailers. But now I'm of the opinion that you get one shot, make one great trailer, and make it count. But since they released that final trailer, the pre-done estimates for the opening weekend tracking have moved up. They used to be about 40 to 50 million. They've been bumped from anywhere between 55 and 70 million for opening weekend. Now, that's a small amount when you think about a $170 million budget. And as I always point out, you have to make at least 2.5 times your budget, not including marketing, because they split half of that box office with the domestic theaters. They split more than half, more often than not, with the international theaters, meaning that they got to make a whole lot of money if they want this movie to break even. So even if you leave out the marketing, we're talking about $425 million. Why is this a problem? It seems like it should be an up and up thing given the fact that the numbers have bumped since the last trailer came out. Well, here's the problem. The early sales for the ticket tracking is at about $1.75 million in pre-sale tickets. The problem with this is that puts it under Superman, it puts it under Black Widow, and it puts it under the Thunderbolts. And if you're wondering about Thunderbolts, I won't use Black Widow as an example because Black Widow came out day and date release, so box office numbers aren't a fair estimation for that film. But if we're talking about Thunderbolts, it performed less than Thunderbolts in pre-sale tickets. $382 million final for Thunderbolts, and that's still well under the $425 million amount that they're going to have to make if they want to get anywhere near some form of break-even point. Again, doing 2.5 times its budget. Now that puts it a little bit ahead of the Marvels, but the Marvels was an absolute bomb at the box office. And one of the other problems is the tracking at $55 million for the opening puts it roughly in the territory of The Flash, which came out in 2023 and bombed once again with about $271 million total after a $55 million opening weekend at the box office. So then it all comes about whether it has any tracking or any good word of mouth down the frame. I just wonder, is there anything that I've talked about? Because I've made you sit through endless segments of me talking about this. Is there anything that looks like it interests you? Because I'm sure at least something has come up on your timeline about
the dog,
You love the dog? I imagine you love the dog.
I'm definitely looking for, what is it, Crypto?
Crypto.
I'm looking forward to Crypto. As far as everything else, I'm looking. Do you mean movies in general?
This movie specifically.
Okay, because I was like, there are some movies in general I'm looking forward to that we saw previews for at the theater last week.
What were they?
Young Washington.
Yep.
And then, oddly enough, the Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah.
That was silly and it looked fun.
I was of the opinion before. I was anti Coyote vs. Acme because I was laughing at all the people that hate David Zaslav because he's the one who shelved that movie before they ended up selling it. So in a bit of a contrarian take, I was just kind of dunking because everybody was mad at what he did. But I did that just because David Zaslav has this ability to upset people, and that always made me laugh. But here's the other problem when it comes down to all of these numbers. Like, we can quibble about it. It's still early, but we'll get more solid totals when it comes into it. But what does interest look like for this film? Well, that is a different story. The tracking and awareness have climbed, but the interest just won't budge. That is a problem that we have seen repeatedly with a bunch of this stuff. People are aware that these movies are coming out. There's just no interest in anybody going to see them. This is the latest quorum data from Puck News. Supergirl awareness climbs 3 points to 56%, but interest has not moved at all, sitting at a flat 46%. Quorum tracks movie awareness and interest through audience surveys, getting an early look at which up-and-coming movies people are actually going to want to go and see. Like, for instance, is anybody going to see Disclosure Day this weekend? I'm actually, I can say that I would maybe want to go see it, but, not on the fact that it's Steven Spielberg, but just because I don't have an alien movie to look forward to. I guess Supergirl's technically an alien movie, but I don't have an alien invasion-esque type movie to look forward to this weekend. But you would think that the conspiratorial crowd might be interested in going and seeing a movie like this, not to mention the fact that I imagine that some of those people would like seeing a Steven Spielberg movie that actually does well for once in the last 20 years, which he hasn't had the greatest success in the last 10 years at least. But this movie's tracking high with critics. Where will it go with audiences? I don't know, but it would be interesting to know what was the awareness and what was the interest for a movie like that, because I haven't heard anybody talking about it. I don't know anybody talking about Disclosure Day.
Yeah, I don't either. Actually, no, I saw one YouTuber that I followed today. I won't go on an aside, but I would love to go on an aside, but I will not.
For it.
I don't want to because the audience doesn't like my asides, and so I'm not going to do it. There's one YouTuber that I literally know who is going, who went to an early release of it and did a review about it. And he is a gamer YouTuber.
Chill.
And he went because it has to do with aliens and whatever. And
you'd think that would interest some people.
Interest.
Given the fact that the government tries to distract from every bad thing in America every few months by doing alien release document drops, right? No?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just because, maybe it could be I don't know. I haven't seen great marketing for the movie.
For that movie specifically, yes. All right.
That's
awareness is supposed to pull interest up. With Supergirl now just over 2 weeks out from its June 26th release, the marketing push is doing its job on reach, but more people know the more people that know the movie existed than they did 2 weeks ago. But the whole point of ramping up awareness is that in the final stretch, it is supposed to convert people into interest to go and actually go and see this movie. Here's the problem. So a lot of people are comparing this to the Marvels, and I have a worse comparison. Does anybody remember that scene in Captain Marvel where she like beats the crap out of the dude because he tells her to smile? Well, that was one of those crowning achievements for that movie that really, really bummed a bunch of people out because they're like, why are you making this movie so feminist when you could possibly, even though they kind of politicized Carol Danvers, they could have made a generic action superhero movie that didn't have feminist undertones that would have made people actually pretty happy, especially given the fact that that stuff was going on going into the end of Marvel's third phase. That would have been great. But the problem is we've got this clip from Supergirl, and I think that you can't always use X as a barometer, but in this case, I want to use X as a barometer for why some people might not be all that interested in going to see this movie because they see stuff like this and it just doesn't interest them given the way the character acts. So I'll put this full screen. If we get copyrighted, that sucks, but here we go.
Does not look like this is gonna end well.
So she's all they did, given that this scene is completely devoid of context, and I think some context would have really helped here, because here's my guess as to what happened. My guess as to what happened is that she's talking to this guy. He's being snarky to her. He's being rude to her. Maybe he makes some comments about about the fact that she's a girl, something like that, which would be the ultra feminist take. But he threatens her in some fashion. But they end up sitting down for an arm wrestling match, and then she breaks his arm. And then I didn't play the rest of the scene for the hopes of not getting copyrighted. But she beats up all the people that pointed guns at her or lasers at her. And what it really looks like, devoid of context, is she goes down to sit and arm wrestle with somebody and just breaks his arm and then beats up all the people trying to defend the guy. That's not exactly something that endears a bunch of people to it.
Yeah.
Now, the context matters, and the fact that she's not Kal-El matters. I guess the fact that she's not Superman matters, given that Superman is a different character entirely. But it doesn't really read well for a lot of people, so a lot of people were wondering why that would be a clip they would release. This person said, what we know about Supergirl, she's messy and traumatized. With that in mind, all the clip shows is her needlessly breaking some guy's arm and then beating up a room full of guys who attempt to protect him from her. This person said he wanted to arm wrestle, but instead of just winning the match, Supergirl uses her super strength to break his arm. What the F? That's the actions of a villain, not a hero.
That's fair.
This son says, oh yes, Supergirl breaks a guy's arm for literally no reason and beats up everyone trying to defend the guy, and this is meant to be the good guy in this movie. Again, there could be context here that will be fleshed out in the movie. That doesn't matter here because the marketing campaign is presenting it devoid of context, which means that it's not showing a good first impression for the hero for people.
Yeah.
What is something like that? Like, what would you have thought of if you'd seen that unprompted?
I probably would have been like, that's dumb. Like, it's just giving, like, making the girl strong to make the girl strong, like, girl boss strong, whatever. Maybe I'm jaded by, like, the current sphere of not only...
I mean, she's a girl boss strong because she's a superhero, because she's got
I know,
powers from
but
Krypton.
it's like, you're still not breaking a guy's arm. I'm
no,
sorry.
yeah, she's a superhero. She literally has super strength.
I guess it's just one of those
That's got
things
nothing... Yeah,
where,
if this
again,
was a human, it would matter. She's not a human.
This is like woke... To me, like, I'm so jaded by all the woke stuff that's what would have gotten me first. I wouldn't have thought about superhero first. I would have thought woman first. But also, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Like, in universe, it makes perfect sense because she has the power to do that.
Yeah.
This is not the same thing as like a 5'6" woman beating up a bunch of special forces guys with
I just think so many people are
superpowers.
so jaded by it that they will have that reaction.
What other movies are you looking forward to this year?
I'd have to look out. Let's see, 2026 movies.
Is there anything else specifically you were looking?
I'm trying to remember. There was
Washington
another one that I was
you were
like,
looking forward
yeah.
to.
Oh, guys, I love George Washington. She's
a huge fan of George Washington.
I should take a picture of all my George Washington stuff and put it in the Discord for them.
And we came to the conclusion that George Washington's wife was in fact possibly a baddie. Whenever you said that
we thought and I was thinking of Lincoln's wife.
Lincoln's wife was not a baddie,
but Martha. I don't know if she was a baddie, but she definitely was like a skinny queen. Okay.
Well, they had that
guys-
going for them back then.
Yes, and speaking of Discord, things to put in the Discord, I finished my Lego build, or my micro blocks build last night. It was a 7,000 piece build, so that thing took forever. I'm going to put that in the Discord. There's a Lego forum that I'm going to put it in. That's an aside, sorry, but I said Discord and was like, oh, I remember that now, because that's how my brain works. So, okay, movies I'm looking forward to.
There's got to be at least a couple.
Maybe Toy Story 5. I'm 50-50 on it, because
What did you think of her song?
I liked it. It's catchy.
You like,
I didn't like it because it's Taylor Swift. I liked it because it's catchy. Can I say that, or are people going to think I'm
fine.
coping?
So my critique of it was when we listened to it the first time, I thought it was really catchy. I listened to it a couple times after that, and it just didn't stick with me the same way. I think part of it might be that you're going to, like, I feel like every song now in a soundtrack for a Toy Story movie is going to be compared to You Got a Friend in Me.
It is, and that's the problem.
It's a high bar to clear.
Yes, exactly. So if I'm looking, because I'm looking through right now everything that's being released. Oh my gosh, there's so many things. Why are you giving me so much? I'm trying to find, like, obviously, like, the Odyssey. I don't really know if I'm looking forward to it, but I guess I'm looking forward to the reactions once the movie is actually out. That's what I would be looking forward to. This gives me way too many movies. That's the other problem, is you're like, oh, like, I want to look at all the movies being released, and then it's like literally every movie being released. You're like, I didn't want that. I didn't mean that. But let's see. So Disclosure Day, don't really care about. I am Toy Story 5. As someone who grew up on Toy Story, I'm kind of looking forward to it. But, like, even my brother, who is a staunch Toy Story fan, said to me the other day he's not looking forward to it.
Do you say why?
He said he feels like it's too drawn out. They're doing too much. Like...
Well, I mean, we talked about the fact that the actual theme of the movie, you know, given its toys versus technology, is actually kind of interesting and something that, at least, like, most of the time, and depending on where you come down creatively, about the idea of a story needing to justify itself, a lot of people are like, that theme
It
at
makes
least
sense.
is interesting enough to justify
Sure.
perhaps making a movie.
But I don't know if it justifies adding it to the Toy Story. But again, I get why they're doing it, because it's a movie about toys, right? But then, like, the question comes in, do these toys never age? What's happening? There's so many questions. But this seems like the last one they can do before people might start dying off. And, you know, I'm not to be cynical.
Tom
it's just,
Hanks and Tim Allen, I think, are both about to be 70.
like, they're just getting older, and their voices are changing because they're getting older, and you get old person voice. It happens. Nothing to be ashamed about. Another one I'm kind of looking forward to is Moana. I was a big Moana fan when the movie first came out. I love that soundtrack. And again, I'm not like a movie soundtrack girl. Love that.
I mean, yes, you are. At least you're a fan of Hamilton's.
Right,
Hamilton
but
soundtrack.
they're two examples of the millions of movies. Like, there are people who literally love soundtracks of movies. That's all they listen to, like whether it's show tunes or just any score. I usually don't notice that stuff as much. But the Moana one, it is so good. So I am looking forward to
I've
that.
never seen any Moana movies.
Looks like there's one called Motor City. That's an independent film. I'll have to look into that, see if it looks any good.
That might be hard, like finding tickets for something.
Would you like to know? Oh, and I'm looking forward to the new Spider-Man, I think, because I like Tom Holland. Want to know what's coming out on July 31st? It's called I Want Your Sex.
Who's I think I saw an
Olivia Wilde.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
I saw.
I Want Your Sex.
So that's a Greg Araki movie.
I'm so sorry.
I saw an ad for that today, and I was like, "Why is it that all of the old women have to make movies about sex now?"
Dude, you're telling me it's really stupid. Like,
it's like
they
in
all,
the contract.
your mother. What is going on with these movie names? We gotta stop, man. So far, those are the ones I see that I'm definitely looking forward to. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna keep bumping my head. I'm all over the place today.
That's okay.
They're gonna have to bear with me. I know people are gonna be like, "She's too scatterbrained." I just
Welcome.
that's
to
my
world.
brain today. Oh, there's a new Cat in the Hat coming out.
I don't know if those movies ever do well in the theaters. I'd have to look up the box office.
My dad and I have an inside joke about the live action one they made like years and years ago.
Wait, was that Mike Myers?
I forgot
Who
to
was
send
in
my
that
dad the
one?
link.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna move on. We're gonna move on. We'll come back to it, guys. Let's talk about what's going on with Hugh Laurie from House. As you guys know, House is perhaps one of my favorite shows of all time. So the funny thing about it on this podcast is I don't actually get a chance to talk about it a whole lot because it went off the air in like 2012. So that makes it very difficult because unless they're gonna do some type of reboot or revival, you don't get a chance to talk about it, which is why people have a bingo card with all of the shows, I find ways to mention on this podcast without it actually being part of the discussion. Today, we break that cycle. We've got a post here from a journalist who is watching the show for the first time, and she found herself to catch on to a pattern in the show, not really understanding that when you're making network television, it's very formulaic. When you do 22 to 24 episodes of a show, what you end up getting most of the time is the idea of variations on a theme. And she wrote this post, and then Hugh Laurie himself came out and dunked on this woman. And then we'll get into all of that afterwards, because it ended up kind of devolving into what I will call a kerfuffle. This is what she said. Late to the party, but I've started watching season 1 of House. Same narrative every episode. Patient has a mysterious illness. Hugh Laurie, House, in parentheses, gets the diagnosis wrong. Patient nearly dies. Hugh Laurie gets diagnosis wrong again. Gets threatened with being fired. Patient nearly dies. Hugh Laurie has a last-minute left-field idea. Gets diagnosis right. Doesn't get fired. 8 seasons of this?
I mean,
I could have added some other stuff in there. You could have added in there. So after gets diagnosis wrong again, you could add a joke about Cameron being a woman, and about Foreman being black, and about Chase being, I guess, Australian. I mean, he also says he's too pretty, but insert joke there, insert rude behavior to Wilson despite the fact that he's your best friend, and insert sexual innuendo or comments to Cuddy about her body in some way, shape, or form. Then you get to the final part where he comes up with a left field idea, and then insert themes of hypocrisy, all of that stuff, major themes in the show. But Hugh Laurie himself has responded, and this is what he said. Thanks for the critique, Janet. We actually tried a couple of episodes where House, Hugh Laurie, please put the brackets in the right place, gets it right the first time, but they were only 6 minutes long. NBC weren't happy. Then we tried some where House never gets it right and the patient dies. The audience wasn't happy. One could apply your trenchant analysis for other art forms, including J.S. Bach. Is that Johann Sebastian Bach, I'm assuming? Bach wrote 30 Goldberg variations on the same chord structure. Frida Kahlo painted 50 portraits of herself. Henry Moore? What? The point is, or was, variations on a theme. If all you see is hospital, medical, blah, 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 then it wasn't for you. Nonetheless, I look forward to your first novel. Yeah, she is writing a book. And this actually set a bunch of people off, and I thought it was really, really funny because, like, fandom is kind of one of those things that people don't like necessarily getting into a debate about. Some people thought his response was classless. I don't necessarily buy that, given that the show is off the air. But he did respond in a very British way, and it made me laugh, because he kind of says sorry without saying sorry. And this is what he said. I'm sorry if people having a go at you because if people are having a go at you because of my tweet. Not at all the plan. I was very slightly drunk and already upset about something that had nothing to do with you. If it's any comfort, I got into it. I got it in the neck too. I'm a thin-skinned. I don't know if we can say that word on here.
I wouldn't.
Okay. Apparently, even though it wasn't my skin, I was sticking up for the writers who I adored. Obviously, I shouldn't have cited Bach, Kahlo, and Moore, asking for trouble, and would have done better to go for the 10,000 blues songs written around the same 12-bar chord structure. I've listened to most of them and will keep doing so because we love what we love. He's right.
He's right. He is objectively correct. I am sorry. There's breaking news coming out right now, so I'm kind of there, and I'm also here because my job is to do both. So, sorry. When they do have their verdicts read on the Carmelo Anthony case, maybe we'll, even though it's not pop culture, it's become a whole news phenomena. They reached a verdict after only 3 hours, so not looking good, but for him at least. But yeah, I look, he's standing up for what he sees as his people, his tribe, whatever you want to call it.
I thought the NBC part was a misstep on his part, because the show aired on Fox, but it's actually because it was produced by NBC Universal, like a subsidiary of NBC Universal, but was aired on Fox. So it was a different thing entirely.
I mean, look, I agree with him calling her out. I mean, but she's also allowed to have a critique, but he's allowed to respond to the critique. And I think a lot of times people think you can't respond to a critique, and he can. I'm sure people have said worse things about House. You want my honest opinion on House? I don't agree with her entirely.
She wasn't talking about the show, though, or about him, his character. She was talking about the show's structure. Your issue seems to be more with him as a character.
Oh, I hate his character. I know a lot of people like his character. I cannot stand his character. He is one of the worst people ever. He's so infuriating, which is a compliment to Hugh Laurie for portraying a character like that. But also he's gone on to portray other characters that aren't like that. So it's a testament to Hugh Laurie. It's a testament to his acting skills and his ability to keep the character the way the character was meant to be. But I do hate the character. So there's like a give and take there, but I love all the side characters. So again, he'd be right to tell me that I mean, I'm not trying to be like not thick-skinned. I mean, he could be his character. I have no problem with it. And the show's format does stay the same, but that's for any procedural you watch. That's for any of that stuff. It's just that it's not a procedural, and so
it is a procedural.
It is, but
After
not. It's a medical
procedural.
It's a medical procedural. People are used to like a police procedural where there are like things, but this is what happens in hospitals. People get misdiagnosed when they have rare diseases. That's what happens. So I'm not gonna say that they are he's objectively wrong for calling her out. And she was being a little bit soft, being like, and he's mean to them.
She took this pretty well. Did she say she was mean to them?
Or did he?
No, she didn't say that.
She just, yeah.
So she took this pretty well. She says she wrote an article about it, which I thought was very interesting. She said, after being publicly roasted by Hugh Laurie and discovering that House fans are even more brutal than trans activists, I felt duty-bound to write about the experience. Here's my latest for Unheard on celebrity, fandom, social media, and what happens when an amusing post from a celebrity with millions of followers puts an ordinary person in the spotlight. That is true. Like, it is... I am of two opinions. Or actually, no, I'm of one opinion. So just because somebody has millions of followers, they are not responsible for the ridiculous, overt nature of those followers if they go and are awful to people online. You can't control. Now, you could tell them that they could, like, denounce it, but they'd have to denounce it literally every day. It's like every time I have to make an announcement on the show, you have to make the announcement like 50 times because nobody ever seems to hear it all at once.
Yeah,
so if you're denouncing once, you're denouncing endlessly. But this is what she said. This was her article. She says, what I learned from my online fight with Hugh Laurie. I mean, I'd hardly call this a fight. As someone who writes about politics, free speech, and women's rights, I guess she's like not necessarily like she's like maybe on the anti-trans beat. I don't know. Does the name Janet Murray ring a bell to anybody? She's in the UK.
Janet.
Maybe she's friends with J.K. Rowling. Says, as someone who writes about politics, free speech, and women's rights, I've received my fair share of online abuse. But even some of the most brutal activists I've encountered on social media are no match for fans of the U.S. medical drama House, as I found out last night after a lighthearted observation on X. The observation itself, made on Saturday night, was hardly revolutionary. After a few episodes, I noted that House seemed to follow a very familiar pattern. Usually, patient arrives. House confidently proposes a diagnosis. He's wrong. She goes on and repeats it. She says, I had a final, says he faces the possibility of professional ruin and then has a final epiphany. All is right with the world and he keeps his job. And she says, I wonder, does this happen for 8 seasons? Then she goes on. Then to my surprise, Hugh Laurie replied on Sunday night. His response, delivered firmly in character as the acerbic Dr. House, was funny. After explaining that the show was about variations on a theme, like Bach's Goldberg variations or Kahlo's self-portraits, Laurie suggested that all I saw was hospital medical blah, blah, blah. Perhaps it wasn't meant for me, he added. Nonetheless, I look forward to your novel. It was sharp, witty, and unmistakably patronizing, which, given the role he was playing on the television show, was rather on point. Up until that conversation, it had been good-natured. Some people agreed with his observation. Others insisted I should keep watching their favorite show. But when Laurie engaged, the tone changed. What followed was not disagreement so much as tribal defense. My X-feed filled with accusations that I was stupid, humorless, and a Karen, and inevitably, the C word. She said that, so that's her words, not mine. There is something oddly unsettling about watching strangers direct the level of vitriol towards someone they've never met while simultaneously telling a celebrity how much they love him. House fans are hardly unique. There are many examples of fandoms attacking people who dare to criticize their idols. BBC One radio presenter Greg James famously found himself on the receiving end of backlash from Taylor Swift fans in 2018 after he joked that she should take a shower following a muddy festival performance. Is that real? That happened?
Yeah. I mean, I thought the backlash was super stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. Carmelo Anthony has been found guilty of murdering Austin Metcalf, and the riots are already starting in the parking lot of the courthouse.
Okay.
But there you go. There's your breaking news. I'm locked in now.
Why do fans behave like this? One possible explanation lies in what psychologists call parasocial relationships, the one-sided bonds people develop with celebrities and fictional characters. Social media has intensified those attachments while encouraging people to make their heroes part of their identity. Once that happens, criticism of TV show, celebrity, or film franchise can start to feel surprisingly personal. So I see this all the time. I try to give like detached critiques of movies and television shows, and most of the time people that follow me either agree or they don't know or care because they're not watching a lot of what modern Hollywood has to offer. But every so often something breaks containment, and what I've always found interesting is like maybe it's just because tonality is so hard to nail down online, but my critiques are very rarely, if ever, meant to be derisive, especially if I'm actually reviewing something as opposed to just commenting on the news. But when people don't like what you have to say, they can get very upset very fast.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. We have noticed this, I mean, it's micro and it's macro, right? So it goes from anything that's like a smaller, whether it's a podcast or whatever, up to a bigger TV show, a movie, whatever. People get very personally offended by that.
Yeah, I've noticed that to be true. And this person, and it must be weird, perhaps, coming from a world like politics, especially gender activism or following the gender identity beat as a reporter, where it feels like there's real world consequences for the stakes when talking about that stuff. You'd understand, like maybe it's not fair, but you understand where the vitriol comes from because everybody's entrenched in their point of view and they want to keep pushing forward with it.
Yeah.
But for television, you would think that people were able to find more of a middle ground, but it doesn't actually end up being that way because a lot of people end up attaching a lot of their personal identity to the celebrities they like and the entertainment they watch.
Yeah. No, it's true. I think that is like, it's funny. My identity gets tied into, to Taylor Swift, for example. So they want me to like go, all the way, for Taylor Swift. They're like, you have to be like staunchly for or staunchly against her. But then if you're against her, the Swifties go nuts.
Is there any other celebrity? Was this similar with like any of the
Oh
other?
man, One Direction for sure. I mean, when Liam died, there was quite a bit of back and forth online. People saying it was his fault he was dead. That was met with a lot of vitriol and nastiness. Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's political.
I mean, that's
but
political.
But he still had
a
like a fan base, right?
But it's tied to politics, so it's like it's automatically going to be vitriolic.
Vitriol and hatred.
A lot of it. But this, this
One
is
Direction for sure. I can see it with 5 Seconds of Summer, definitely. And then we see this with what was that kid from that show who couldn't go to his prom? Oh man, remember we talked about he couldn't go to his prom because he was getting death threats, and so was his girlfriend.
Who was that?
Kid? Oh man,
I forget who that was, but yeah, that was crazy.
Like 18-year-old kid.
He wasn't getting death threats. They were threatening the
girl.
girls
The girls
that he could maybe potentially go with.
Yeah, and
that was crazy.
That was insane. So that's like a more recent example.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, yeah, like girlfriends of the guys of One Direction would get death threats, or if they're seen with a woman, they would find out who she was, her social security number, her address, all of it in a day, and it's insane.
Yeah.
Like these fan bases, these fandoms can be absolutely insane.
Why do you think so many people end up tying their personalities to celebrities as opposed to something else? Like in a way, I disagree with it. Like, I don't like the idea of tying your identity to your politics, but your politics oftentimes informs your moral compass, which means it makes a little bit more sense to have that moral compass tied to your, your personality.
It's a good question. I mean, I'm trying to think about I'm trying to straw man an argument for tying your personality into celebrity, and I think maybe it's because you look up to them, you see them as not even a hero, but just somebody that you admire, and so you do take after people that you admire, and so that if it's somebody specific that they are a very big fan of, and they become part of a fandom, then it becomes like a family, right? So or a community. So, for example, and I'll use Tim as an example here, the Timcast community, the Discord members, that's a community that a lot of people might tie their identity to. And so it is very, it's very specific. I think it's where you spend your time. So if you're somebody that's already drawn to being in a fan group or a fandom or whatever, you're more than likely going to tie your personality to that, or take quirks from that, or say certain things from that. I'm trying to think if there's any I picked up over time that are from that. What? Let's see.
The kid who couldn't go to prom was Walker Scoble.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, Shane.
Yes, that poor kid.
I'll make my argument for it. So
Okay.
I can't make the argument for music because maybe it's just me personally, but the lyrics of music has never of songs has never been the most important part. I grew up listening to gangster rap. I listened to a lot of electronic music. I listened to stuff from all across the spectrum, all sorts of different themes and ideas. My attachment to a musician is more about the type of music they make rather than the type of lyrics that they're necessarily singing in the song. But if we're talking about a television show, something where the narrative is the most important feature, or theoretically the most important feature of the show, tied closely to the narrative is oftentimes some type of moral lesson or theme that the writers of the show are trying to convey. Right?
Yeah.
So you may tie aspects of your identity to that show because it informs your worldview in some way, shape, or form. For instance, if you are a fan of House, it could lead you to being nihilistic in some ways because the show is deeply focused on the concept of hypocrisy and nihilism.
That's true.
And those are big themes in that show. So if you take a show that you take any show you like The West Wing. What do you think is a dominant theme? It doesn't have to be about the politics of it, but what is a dominant theme in the show?
Strong work ethic.
Okay.
Because they're always working around the clock, coming in off hours. Does that sound familiar? They're always working and doing what they can, and they are. I'm trying to think. There's probably another theme that I'm not thinking of, but that's the first one that comes to mind immediately. Is like the work ethic, or giving your all for your job and
believing in what you're doing.
Believing in what you're doing and believing in making a change. And even if it's something small that ends up affecting bigger things, you're okay with that. And that's something that happens a lot here. A lot of people on our team will say or do something, and Tim will take that and run with it. Tim's the face of that, and he got that from his team, which is what we're here for. But it definitely is one of those things where you're like, wow, I just made like real change. Like, that's so cool. Like, I just did this. Like,
and you love that theme.
I can't say what's going on, but there's going to be a project coming up next month or a thing Tim is doing. And I helped him come up with some ideas for that. And it was really cool when he was like, yeah, I want to take that road with it. So
the
I get
themes
that.
In the West Wing speak to you there.
So that speaks to me there. And same with like the helping you don't need to be the actual part of you don't have to be the face of it, but being part of it is the cool part for you. And I love being part of it. It's so fun.
But
so
my
hard
point,
work,
I guess my point is,
but I do take,
if somebody criticizes it, you may, I'm not saying you specifically, but if somebody else was to kind of embody the idea that hard work was the theme of the show, and they love that show and it means a lot to them, and perhaps how many times have we heard about like women who have said that they went on to become doctors because of bones or something?
I mean,
like
I've heard that.
right?
I have heard that.
So the idea then is if somebody criticizes the show, you may feel, maybe without even realizing it, that they're criticizing something that's very dear to your value system.
I mean, yeah, I guess for me it would be someone critiquing the West Wing and how it people go into politics for it. And like that's where I really, really started to love politics. Like I already really liked politics, but that's what really drove it into where it is today. And so it started one way, ended up another way. Like it started as just like a show I enjoyed, ended up shaping a lot of my life. It also shapes a lot of what I believe, because there are things that they say and do that I don't believe in, like arguments they're in favor of, and it tests my belief system to still watch a show that maybe talks about that stuff but isn't in agreement with me. So it definitely made me someone who, I mean, I just like Aaron Sorkin's work to begin with, but
yeah, because you like Newsroom too.
I do like the Newsroom. Again, working hard, always working, strong work ethic. And they show the good and the bad. It's not just good. It's not just bad. They show both sides of it. And so I appreciate that, because that is how workplaces go. It's not always great. It's not always bad. somewhere in the middle some days. And so that's what I would have taken from that.
So another thing is that, like, if somebody grew up watching a show
That's
like
what
House,
I was just thinking,
If somebody
yeah.
grew up watching a show like House and it's tied to important times in their life, maybe it got them through a hard time. Like, that's something you hear people say all the time. Like, I was in a really tough place,
They'll say that
but
when they meet
watching
an
your
actor.
show came out,
Yeah.
it meant a lot to me. So when somebody comes and criticizes that, then they might take that personally because that show meant so much to them. They feel liable to defend it. And I guess that makes a lot of sense. But you do need to be able to separate yourself from that aspect of it, which is one of the ways in which I think fandom makes some mistakes. But good on Hugh Laurie for his non-apology apology.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think House would have ever apologized.
No.
When House thinks he's right, he never apologizes. He says he should have pulled a Gibbs. Never apologize. It's a sign of weakness.
Never
All right.
ever apologize.
Let's move on. It's time to talk about the icks.
Indeed. A comedian has claimed he has discovered the number one ick that women have with men. And you're going to be shocked to hear it, but that ick is running. Running. Don't go out and run and get healthy and do your cardio because apparently it gives women the ick. Now, of course, he is talking kind of tongue-in-cheek. He's a comedian, but he's also partially serious here.
Well, it says running awkwardly.
I mean, like, I'm one of those people that, like, I probably look so stupid when I run because I don't know the proper running form. But is there, like, I've never seen someone do a proper running form because everyone runs differently because it's part of your gait and your walk. And so, but he talks about a few different things here. So here's the one that he said when he was talking to the Post. Runs with their backpack bouncing, chasing a ping pong ball. Anything running seems to be a moment where men lose their ineffability. So the backpack, I'm not going to say I get it, but I feel icky when I run if I have a backpack on. I don't know if it would give me the ick, but it makes me feel like an ick.
The problem with this is, you know what Gen Z's hardest thing to admit, and this is true of millennials in a actually, I might have to rephrase that. So one thing that is keeping everybody apart and miserable is the fear of being cringe.
Or having an ick.
Or
being an ick.
Yeah, I mean, like the fear of being cringe, the fear of like you're walking down the street and you trip over your feet. You don't fall, but you keep running and you look around and you're like, oh, I hope nobody saw that. One of the
I'm so glad it was dark the other night.
Yes, that one doesn't count. But the other thing I thought was funny is, like, there was a post on X the other day and I tried to find it today and I couldn't. And somebody goes like, I don't get running. What am I supposed to do? Just start running,
yes,
like in the middle of the street? And it just made me laugh because I have to do that multiple times a day. It doesn't bother me one bit.
I was like, is that why you're bringing this up?
I was like, is that why you're bringing this up? Gen Z has a terminal fear of being cringe, tied a lot to, overexposure on the internet.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, look, like, I don't know. I don't think I have an ick necessarily. There's things that I find icky, but they're not like, oh, that gives me the ick, like, definitively. Here are some other ones that people have brought up, which I think are very funny. The ones in this article. Jumping over a puddle instead of walking through the puddle. What, is he supposed to get his feet soaking wet?
Just for that, I'm never going to pick you up and move you over the... I'm going to
I never asked
into
you
it.
to.
Yeah.
But this is what they have said. This is not mine. This is I'm wearing sandals with jeans, like long jeans.
Do you know anybody that does that?
Mark.
Does Mark do that?
Mark wears them with socks too.
He's allowed.
It's okay. He's our boss, so he's allowed to do what he wants. And then one that he said was very funny: merging into traffic and no one will let them in, so they're getting more frantic as they're driving. And they said that gave him the ick.
The people just want to be miserable, man.
One woman's dick is another woman's husband. Yes.
Expand on that.
I mean, there might be something where, let's see, drinking milk was another ick.
What?
Women had an, I don't know.
It reminds me of that joke, or the video of the woman who's like, oh, are you going to eat soup as a man? You're going to eat your little bowl of soup with your little spoon. You're going to blow on the bowl.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. Like, if you got down at the bowl's level and started going, that might give me a temporary ick.
Gentlemen, do not fall for this. Here's the problem.
Not in a bad way.
Here's the problem,
I wouldn't break up with you for it.
The problem with this is that you will then live in fear of every single person having some specific ick, in which case you're just going to have to sit in a box and just exist without ever doing anything for fear of being cringe.
I mean, yeah, right? Like, again, some of these things, like, you feel cringy doing yourself. Running with a backpack on, chasing a ball and trying to grab. It's only cute when kids do it. We had a friend over the weekend. She was at the cookout, and her little girl was chasing a ball and kept kicking it because she couldn't bend down enough. So maybe that makes you like, I don't know, it's a cringy, but you shouldn't like live your life in being afraid of cringe. There are so many cringy things that happen that it does not.
Gentlemen, the best way that you can avoid this is be supremely unbothered by whether you're giving her the ick or not.
What are common icks? What are other icks that you have found?
I will show you this one that I thought was really, really sad. So Brian Johnson, the guy who wants to live forever. Remember that? You know the guy who wants to age in reverse? Or whatever?
I know way too much about him and his girlfriend.
So he said, because I guess his girlfriend is from Australia or something. He says, I miss Kate so badly that I physically hurt.
Oh,
It's been a week since we were together. She's still in Australia sorting out her visa. I feel more stressed. My emotions are stunted. My thoughts are cloudy. And then somebody said, this would give me the ick. I'm sorry.
The way he said, like, I'm a broken man. It's not him saying it. It's him saying it publicly.
Fellas, don't give her no tweets about her, gentlemen. Don't give her the tweet because she's just gonna get the.
Well,
ick
it's just like any guy doing that would be super weird. Be like, I feel like my heart is broken. We've been away.
Well, it's not like, it's that he did it on social media.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we were long distance for a little while, and being like, "Oh, I miss you." Like I can't.
That's
wait to
different
see you.
than posting it on
That's
X.
different than Brett going on X and going, "Man, I'm not even gonna tell you guys who I'm dating," because at the time we weren't public. Being like, "I just miss her so much." So here are some that I just looked up the ick examples.
Before I want to give you this one specifically.
Okay, I want to hear it. Give it to me.
My biggest ick is I hate it when a movie starts with a flash forward and then we spend the first 45 minutes getting back to that point.
Brett hates it. So every time a show starts and it goes
12 hours earlier,
Brett crashes out.
Fuck you! That's the worst shit ever. I hate that storytelling device. There was like one time I was okay with it, and it was in like this season 6 episode of Arrow where Oliver like destroys everybody at the Starling City Police Department before he comes face to face with Diaz, and it says like 12 hours earlier. That one was a little bit okay. Most of the time, that storytelling device, that gives me the ick, so I understand.
Okay, so see, here are some that I looked up. Curious what they would say. Some are hygiene issues. I don't count that because it's like that anyone might be turned off by not showering. Like, duh.
Yes.
Like, that's just like humanity. Or like chewing
That's
with your...
not an ick.
Chewing with your mouth open, like, that's just bad manners.
An ick is supposed to be inexplicable. Like, the whole point
but
is
there
like...
are some. There are some. Being overly trendy. That might give people an ick. Some people are really into it. Some people really like that. But if Brett was always like, oh my God, did you see the new Stanley that came out? Or like if I did that, Brett would be like, ugh. Because it gives... I think the idea is it ties to materialism.
Is there a difference fundamentally? I believe that there is a fundamental difference between an ick and just something that you're not attracted to.
Yeah, that's true.
An ick is more how you do something a certain way, and for some reason it like turns people off. It's not necessarily a habit.
Okay,
it's
here
a
we
behavior.
go. Having colored bed sheets, using Spotify with ads, wearing salmon-colored shorts.
Wow, you actually
shirts.
you said the whole ass L in
Salmon.
there. Salmon. Salmonella.
Salmon. It's called salmon. And then let me see if I can find one or two other examples. Here, what gives you the ick the most? And there's 125 comments. Oh, here, breakups. What's something your ex did that gave you the ick? Because that's, see, again, some of these are like, he liked Andrew Tate. Okay. I want to know what the ick is, like the specific... This is really weird. She didn't wash her belly button.
Like
that's what someone said.
Again, that's not an ick. An ick is like she holds her fork weird.
Right. Like they're not understanding it.
That's not an ick. The issue would be like, you know what it could be? It could be like he drinks water with his left hand, but alcohol with his right hand or something like that.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to find.
He pinkies out when he drinks his water like this. That's an ick, not just habits that they do. That's just things they're not attracted to. These people do not know what
I'm
an
looking
ick
up
is.
niche ones because it came up with the AI. I said, can you give me more examples of niche icks? So, while that's loading, so they're saying hyper-specific habits. So, here, the way that someone walks in flip-flops might be an ick.
Yes, the way they walk might be
like an ick
more
for
specific.
You.
Yes.
Right, exactly. Or sneezing like too many times. Like people that'll sneeze and it's like they don't really have sneeze, but they keep sneezing. Like people just do it to do it. Okay, that a partner's feet.
Just doing it to do it. You know people who like fake sneeze to keep going?
I don't know how to explain it, but like they'll be like, oh, I could have held the sneeze in, but I just let it out anyway.
Just open your eyes as wide as you can.
And it's like, okay, no. Okay, having a follower count goal in their bio is an ick for people. Texting syntax. So, a big one. This one kind of gives me the ick. The monkey emoji with like the.
Really?
Or like the.
Okay, that one maybe a little.
I don't know why,
any
but it
idea
tends
why?
to, because every time I've known someone to use it, they're kind of an F-boy for whatever reason.
Okay.
They think it's like cheeky.
Okay.
And then it's like,
Do
for some
girls
reason,
not use that emoji?
Girls tend to use it kind of in a cutesy way, but guys do like, cringy public playlists. So public playlists with really cringy names is one.
Yeah.
Using pet names in public. And let's see, these are fun. I
did call you babe once on this show. And,
you also did it in front of my parents and went.
Yeah.
You literally went. Having zero inside voice. Okay.
See, that one's hard for me because like being deaf in one ear means I'm always either talking too loud
Brett
or
also
too
gets.
quiet.
Brett gets very offended if you tell him he's talking too loud.
Yes, that is the one way you can offend me.
Like I won't tell him anymore if he's doing it. I just kind of go like that.
Like, let's rephrase it. Not offended. I get petty immediately. So she'll be like, "You're talking too loud." I'm like, "Oh, am I? I'm sorry."
Yeah, he gets so petty. It's so bad. I'm trying to see what else. Clearing your throat repeatedly.
Again, maybe it's how you have to do it.
But that's, again, refusing to wipe food from their beard until the meal is entirely finished.
My point.
Or making yummy noises while eating. So being like,
it's like the
so good.
It's like the Drake memes. They're like, Drake's the type of dude to ask, is anybody here in a haunted house?
Here's another one. I found out on a third date that this 30-year. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I found out on a third date that this 34-year-old man loved fireworks a lot. Like, I guess he was just like really into them.
Okay, I could see that as giving them the ick, perhaps. I don't know. I still don't feel like that actually counts because it has to be something that you just do the wrong way for them in particular.
Being rude to a waiter. I mean, yeah,
that's not an ick. That's just
not an ick. That's just
like we are back into
long
turn
nails.
off territory.
Long nails. Someone said that gives them the ick.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, guys. If you are a Gen Z person or you're a millennial, like you cannot live in fear of giving someone the ick. You have to just live your life the way that you live your life, and the right person will be the right person for you. And if you're constantly worried about giving someone that you're pursuing the ick, then you're going to be spending a whole life dodging some type of like shrapnel from the fallout every time you accidentally do something that they find cringy. You just have to find somebody who embraces the cringe with you or does not find your behavior to be cringy.
I have one that I found an ick that I actually have. I rarely get an ick, but if you did this thing, I would hate it. I would cringe internally so badly. Posting the boomerang selfies of themselves where it's like it barely moves, or using the like dog filter with the dog ears and the nose and being like,
I like the fake boomerangs that people make of they just
those are funny where they move and they No, doing like this, I can't quite explain it, but it's always with an emo caption. This person is so real for that. The boomerang selfies on Instagram stories, the filters with dog ears. Again, usually an F-boy. I don't know how to explain the trend, but the monkey emoji and that.
They're too
signs.
social media literate to be normal.
Like, it's just like you're too obsessed with how you look on social media. And so that was one that was funny. Oh, someone said, I hate when people do impressions. Gives them the ick.
Okay.
So you can't do your little Chris Rock bit.
Well, I can't do that anyway.
We can't do it here anyway right now, but yeah.
All right. Let's look, like I said, guys, do not let fear of cringe prevent you from living a full life. Be who you are. And the right person will not care about whatever it is because they will not find that behavior cringy. Otherwise, you're just going to be like all of the things that you're kind of self-conscious about will be weaponized by somebody because you're never going to live up fully to the expectations of a person who has endless icks. It's just, it's no way to live a life.
Some of you guys have crazy dating stories in the chat, by the way. I checked because you asked a question, and they've got some great ones. But I did send you a cringe.
Yes, I was wondering if that's
because
what it was.
it's related to our next topic.
Okay.
It felt like we should do this to really give the SpongeBob vibe. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I know all the words to this, which is even worse.
Here we go. I don't want to get us copyrighted.
You have to have the music. You're just gonna have to cut it out because the music is what makes it.
But it keeps on trying.
Bro's
play it one more time. Play it one more time all the way through.
This kind of day could
Do it. You gotta play it all the way
get much
through.
better, but it keeps on trying.
I mean, but here's the thing.
No, it's so. That's the ick.
Here's the thing.
That's the
All
ick.
this guy has to say is like, I got Ariana Grande to divorce her husband to be with me, and you lose the argument because he bagged a big Hollywood celebrity, despite the fact that he's kind of a nobody theater guy.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
but
they're not on the same level.
It's just it's so bad. I can't. Like,
is bad.
The yeah. And then you don't see it in this one because the way it's cut, but his legs when he's dancing, he kind of he does this leg thing, and then it became a trend where people were imitating it, and then he's it continues, and he's something, there's a Krabby Patty that needs frying is what the next line is, and it's just so bad. And so it's just and the little this is what got me. Ready? Mm-hmm. Brett did it off camera. Oh, immediately divorceable offense.
All right, so we've done the cringe, and we will get into Ethan Slater in a second here. SpongeBob is not free here, but we do have Cute of the Day. We have a couple here. First one from Horror Amarada, Mr. Chuck Norris.
Hello.
That's somebody's ick right there.
Hello.
And then
Tick.
And then
Hi,
here we go.
baby.
This one from
Hello. Oh my goodness.
From Unknown Unknower.
Hi, friend.
Might as well show them here. I've got no one else I'm showing them to. Well, thank you for sharing the pictures of the puppies. Now, I am generally against clothes on animals. I have come around. I am against costumes on animals.
What if I put a coat on toast? What if we got the Aldi jacket?
I mean, we don't need that for them because they live inside.
But she could go to work with her jacket on.
We did get you got Toast, the Aldi house.
Yes. She was there yesterday. Even Mocha applied. Oh, look at this little. Oh, hello, friends.
Oh, it's tiny.
It's so tiny.
And two more.
You tell we have the same reaction to
Yes.
pets because we live together. So we
very
start to
cute.
do
Those
it.
are some very cute puppies right there. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the reckoning that has come for SpongeBob and Ariana Grande.
Yes, SpongeBob. Hence the cringe of the day today. I wanted you guys to be able to know what we're talking about. Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater have broken up after almost 3 years of dating, sources confirm. Now, they did quietly split months ago. There were rumors. Oh, you're putting the clap. Okay.
Nope, there was applause. Continue.
Indeed. So, they have broken up. They say they are still friends and very supportive of one another. We have it here from People. They quietly ended their relationship several months ago after 3 years together. If you remember the rumors going around a few months ago, they were accurate indeed. She is currently on her Eternal Sunshine tour ahead of an upcoming album. It's always before an album release, ladies and gentlemen. A source tells them they ended the relationship. It's amicable. They gave lots of time and careful consideration and decided to go their separate ways. They're still friends and very supportive of one another. They have been quietly broken up for several months. The insider added that Grande, who's 32, is doing great and has been focused on her tour, which kicked off June 6th, so just a few days ago, in the upcoming release of her new album. The Hate That I Made You Love Me singer. Why do they always have to say
They
that?
always have to add.
I thought they were going to say it was a song about him, so that's why I read it.
And they usually do that, and they try to find the most obscure things they can use as reference.
Yep,
point.
so they met. So here is the context you need to understand why people are reacting the way they are to this breakup.
Because people are very happy. They find this to be karmic retribution.
Yes. So earlier in 2023, I believe in March or something, Ethan Slater and his then wife gave birth to their son. And the thing is, she had a very traumatic birth. We'll get into that when we read one of these tweets. And the timing didn't look good. It did not look great. Okay, it looked a little suspicious. It looked a little weird, and I don't like it. Icky. Another ick. She said, let's go. She offered men support to everybody in March to when rumors are going around that they may have broken up. They did say in November that they were making their relationship work despite busy schedules and were incredibly supportive of one another's careers. The pop star and actress previously praised Slater in a 2024 interview, calling him such an amazing person. He's always adorable, and he's so amazing in this film. He's such an amazing person. I'm so happy people are getting to know him. My heart is very happy.
That feels like a humble brag. She's like, oh, they're finally starting to know who he is, unlike me, who they've known for years.
So we're gonna go to this this tweet here from Period, I guess, and it shows Lily J, who is Ethan Slater's ex-wife, out walking her baby, and I'm going to quickly read this. It's not letting me pull up the
Yeah, do you want me to read it?
Photo. You're gonna. It's not letting me pull it.
Okay,
up.
so from this it says there's a special place in hell for Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater for what they did to Lily J. No one gets married thinking they'll get divorced. In the same way we don't board a plane expecting to crash, but I really never thought I would get divorced. Especially not just after giving birth to my first child, and especially not in the shadow of my husband's new relationship with a celebrity. In this season of shock and mourning, over a year after the end of my marriage we made public, I deeply missed the life of invisibility I created for myself as a psychologist specializing in women's mental health. In the wrong direction, as a prenatal psychologist, I knew all the statistics, how vulnerable a marriage is to in the postpartum period, how vital community connection is in preventing depression and anxiety, how new parenthood impacts a whole family, but I confidently moved to another country with my 2-month-old baby and my husband to support his career, consumed by the magic and mundanity, is that the word, of new motherhood. I didn't understand the growing distance between us.
Well, you learned it after you found out why he left you. Mind you, both of them left perspective.
No, he was married. She was married to Dalton Gomez.
No, I'm saying they both left their prospective husband-wife
Yep.
to go and be together, apparently. So he did have a son just prior, and then this next one here we have from, again, no name. Y'all gotta stop doing that so we can say what tweet this is. Showing Ariana Grande was literally liking posts May 14th from Ethan Slater about Mother's Day. And I think July was when people, like, the rumors were going around that they were dating. And she was actively liking these posts. I'm not going to say definitively yes or no, but probably while sleeping with her husband.
I mean, so there can be the whole debate about what they call overlap. But I think common sense tells people that it probably happened while they were on the show together.
She is known to be a chronic dater. She does not do single. She doesn't do single. That's at least what people have noticed. She'll never say it. That's what people have noticed. We have Ethan Slater sending love to his ex, Ariana Grande, after their breakup news went out. So he said he's eternally supportive of Ariana Grande despite the news of their breakup. The actor liked her post on Monday.
There's something so depressing about the fact that that's what we're at, where we're at now. Where I guess it's just because they're public figures.
This is according to fans that have spotted this, right? They noticed that.
Yeah. It's just something depressing about it. Like, I guess in real life that could happen if you live in a small town and a couple breaks up and they have like their relationship status changes on Facebook and then somebody like likes the status or something like that. But for celebrities, there's just something depressing about that. What are your thoughts on all this?
Well, there's more, unfortunately. So at her first show, she did give a nod to her ex-husband, Dalton Gomez.
She wants him back.
She said, only want to do it once real bad, gotta make that S laugh, and then held up 2 fingers. So, because she got married and divorced once. But that is something she says in her song is, only do it once real bad, gotta make that last, whatever. I'm not an Ariana Grande, I cannot sing. Look, I think it starts with cheating. It either ends with cheating or it ends messy. Okay. So everyone is cheering this on. Let's just be real. Everyone is happy that Ethan and Ariana are no longer together. They said that something that an insider said is that the ex-wife is rightfully upset because her marriage fell apart, but Ariana and Ethan didn't do anything wrong.
Is that because they're
claiming that they didn't cheat?
He left his wife and child and was dating her like...
Now, mind you,
Instantly.
Billie J had almost didn't make it to childbirth. She was literally on her deathbed when she had her son. She cannot have kids again, likely, because it was so bad. And to not only like not be there for your wife and all of that, with all that going on, but then divorcing her for a pop star that you thought was your friend is insane. They used to go on double dates together. That's crazy.
Yep.
Like, that would be like us going on a double date with a couple and then you end up with some chick and I'm like,
After having a kid.
after having a kid with me, which would be even worse. It's already bad, but it's way worse when you have a kid.
There was a tweet that said, "Hope abandoning your wife less than a year after almost dying giving birth to your kid was worth it, SpongeBob."
Yep.
There was a bunch of quote tweets here. Like you said, the general consensus here is that couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Mainly because what they're assuming is that she's going to be fine. She's going to be moving on to greener pastures. Maybe that's back with Dalton Gomez. Maybe it's with somebody else. But somebody said maybe he broke up with her because he's not into fat girls.
Yeah, I saw that. Or, there's plenty of speculation as to why it probably just wasn't working out, to be honest. Like, it just wasn't gonna
Plus,
work.
they're probably never around because they're both working constantly.
Yeah, they were together during the movie, right? And now they're not. They're not working on the movie anymore.
Yeah, this one says, my theory is that once she was off the Wicked set, she wondered what the hell she was doing. So it was like, what, post-Wicked clarity?
Literally post-movie clarity. Like, post-work clarity. She was like, what just happened? I'm not saying I'm happy or sad for them. I do not support home wrecking, and so that is the first thing I will say. Control yourself. I understand things happen, but you had a kid, and this felt calculated.
Wait, which part? The breakup or the whole of it?
The whole relationship felt very calculated.
Why? Because it was connected to Wicked?
No, because like it's one thing to be like, oh my gosh, she kissed Ariana Grande, and it was like they were drunk at a bar, and like it's still not good. It's still cheating, but it's not nearly as bad as then planning to leave your wife who just had your child, who almost died, for this woman who you were going on double dates with, and your wife thought was friends with her. Like, it adds layers to the hurt.
This one says he left his wife and child for her, by the way. Shocking that going for the woman who makes songs about home wrecking and churning through men quickly wasn't a lifelong partner.
Crazy how that works. Yeah, so...
I mean, that's operating under the assumption that he actually was looking for a lifelong partner, and he's just
Sounds like if he left his wife, he wasn't. But there's speculation that she's dating someone else. There's no speculation as to who that could be, but they say that she is never single. And so there's a very good chance that they split and she moved right on.
Here's a couple more. I'm glad she's done with his ass. He was not worth all the hate trains she got because of him.
I'm sorry, but she's not like mentally deficient. She definitely is responsible they're both responsible in that instance for the backlash.
The Cynthiana fans, the Cynthiana stans are in the chat. They say Cynthiana Nation Rise. They want her to break, now that she's broken up with Ethan Slater, she needs to go and get her queen. Yeah, it's
a queen.
Cynthia Erivo. She needs to go, after being so protective of her on the Wicked press tour, she needs to go and do that. This person says, you didn't have to tweet this or publish it. This was a choice and a very vindictive and calculating one. I hope the clicks are worth it. Her relationship has nothing to do with us, and it should always be that way. It's not any of our business.
They say that until they crap on the next person that's in the news.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is from an account called CIA is Seeing Ariana.
Oh, so just a really big Ariana stan.
Yes,
I'm sure they'd love to crap on Taylor Swift or Sabrina Carpenter or Katy Perry or whoever.
It's kind of what I was talking about with Taylor Swift. It's like once you reach a certain level of fame, it is not realistic to believe that you're going to get that type of privacy.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't have these news things come out. I'm just saying that, again, I'm not going to rehash that entire thing. But it's definitely not surprising at all.
What was the first thing you thought of when you saw this?
Oh, no.
Anyways.
That was quite literally like my head voice had that.
The meme?
The tone of like, oh no. Oh no, couldn't have happened to anyone better. Oh no. Oh man. Not them. Oh, not SpongeBob. That was like literally my brain. Because it was just like, I was waiting on it.
Yeah.
I was waiting on it. Like that's really what it was.
All right. You know what? Like I said, the sad thing is I think both of them are going to end up fine. Like he's not going to suffer. Yeah. He's actually probably not going to suffer any worse consequences than he already has because he doesn't feel bad about what he did.
No, and that's, again, the worst part. I hope that Lily's okay, and the son. I don't know how often he sees his son, but I pray that everyone is doing okay.
All right, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. So, for a very long time, whenever the debate about who the next James Bond is going to be, there is one name that has consistently come up more than any others. That is, of course, Idris Elba. People have been clamoring for him to play James Bond for a very long time. He has now spoken out about this. He is saying that the rumors about him potentially being James Bond were never legit. He says that Bond was written a very specific way for a very specific reason, but he always felt complimented when people suggested that he should play James Bond. And he said, let's not make James Bond woke. Now, we'll get into maybe a debate about what that means, since you guys know that I hate that term, but let's go through this here and what he has to say. It says, Idris Elba is putting those James Bond rumors to rest. The 53-year-old acclaimed actor who tends to play heroic characters and is currently starring in Masters of the Universe alongside Nicholas Galitzine has been tipped to take over as 007 since before Daniel Craig's departure in 2021. But in a new cover interview with British GQ, Elba says that the rumors were never legit. This is what he said. I've always felt that it's not a realistic thing, he told British GQ. James Bond was written how he was written for a reason, but I was complimented by it. And also, I think in realistic terms, some markets just don't go for it. Bond is big all over the world, and audiences won't go for a black male, an African male playing Bond. That's not what they want. That's not like in their culture. Period. It's not what they like in their culture. What do you think about that? He doesn't say who that is. He doesn't say what markets that is or who that is that he's talking about.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I give me a little bit more.
Okay, so he goes on. He says, but he also said that he doesn't necessarily think that that Bond should change. Bond is so unrealistic, so a hint of reality is good, but let's not try and make it woke. He continues, I think we've got to be pure with what it is. Escapism. Don't try and answer the world's taste. Just be Bond. So that's the most important thing there. One of the problems is, and they've talked about this with the recent cancellation of Stargate, which is that they want to create 4-quadrant media that somehow makes every single person happy. You can't do that. You can't speak to every market, and you can't make everybody happy. If you want to make a certain demographic happy for a movie, I'm actually moving in the direction where I no longer think that the 4-quadrant marketing strategy is even possible anymore, outside of a few rare exceptions. So men and women, young and old.
Okay.
Like, you're not just marketing for men of a certain size. You're not just marketing for women. Okay. You're not just marketing for young men. You're not just marketing for young women. Okay. The point is you want to hit all the demographics. And usually when you try to make everybody, what happens? You end up making just about nobody happy. Yeah. That's the problem. The thing is, great storytelling, especially with a character like a James Bond who is full of tropes and full of themes and stuff like that, if you tell a really, really good spy story, you will not just ingratiate yourself to the Bond fans. General audiences like a good spy story, and they will come along for the ride and actually watch it in spite of the fact that it might not actually be for them. And there's the other thing. The reason why James Bond has resonated for as long as he has is because men want to be him, women want to be with him. So you can't try and make everybody happy. You have to just write what works and then go for a specific audience and hope that the great word of mouth that comes from that audience when you do make them happy will actually speak to people and make them want to go and see the movie. But we see quite often now these days that is just not something that you can do. These companies, because they run on data analytics, and I go on both directions here. I do believe that in general, the studio matters, okay? They have to have a say in what is being made, because if they don't, if they give unbridled freedom and creativity to people whose job it is to be creative, they're not always going to find the happy middle ground and speak to an audience of any size. And what tends to happen when they hire these people to make these James Bond movies, to make these superhero movies, well, I'll tell you what normally happens these days. They don't end up hiring people that actually love the franchise. They don't end up hiring people that want to capture the essence of what these franchises should should be, they end up hiring people who end up seemingly a little bit embarrassed of the thing that they're working on and try to seek and change it. Some people have had that critique of He-Man. Now, we could get into a whole debate about whether He-Man was actually on board with what He-Man was in the past, but I saw more than a few people who were genuine fans of the original franchise saying that the movie was very clearly ashamed of what He-Man was when it was, in earnest, when it was, kicking out on all cylinders. So what do? Well, you go forward, you cast the way that it was cast before. In this case, they're probably going to cast a white British male or a white European male. They, it's not necessarily, they have to be British. And, if this had been done 3 or 4 years ago, I do believe they would have race swapped. I do believe that Regé-Jean Page or some such actor probably would have been cast if they were doing this back in 2021. But the thing is James Bond is a bit of a freebie for Hollywood. So he is one of the characters that you're allowed to be anti-woke about. Women can come out and be like, you know what? James Bond should stay a man. As if anybody actually believes that they should make Jane Bond. Now, are they going to do what they did with Lashana Lynch in the later Bond movies and make the, like a 00 agent that's a woman? Yeah, they're going to do that. Yeah. But I never believed for a second that they were going to recast James Bond and make it Jamie Bond or Jane Bond or something like that. So the article goes on, says the rumor mill as to who will be the next James Bond has been heating up as auditions have officially started taking place. Prolific casting director Nina Gold from Game of Thrones and The Crown, they leave out her less palatable stuff from there. Good on them. Is leading the charge for Amazon MGM Studios. And then I thought this was funny. If you look at the Kalshi ratings right now, let's update and see what we're sitting at here. Right now, Callum Turner is sitting at number 1 at 54%. Yeah. Jacob Elordi is sitting at number 2 at 22%. And Aaron Taylor Johnson is down there with just 8%. He's down 7. So, that's what your market is at right now. Personally, I'm not a fan of either of those guys as James Bond. Like, I don't see Callum Turner as a James Bond. When I look at Callum Turner, I think of more of like a Matt Smith. And I would have never personally cast Matt Smith as James Bond. But then the other question that's on point for all of this, who is going to be the next Bond girl? That's what they're wondering. And the options right now, at least according to Kalshi here, Anya Taylor-Joy at 25%. She is tied with Margaret Qualley. And in third place is Sydney Sweeney.
It's just, I think Sydney Sweeney, she's hot, but I don't know if she's Bond. I think she's in a certain level of movie right now where she plays I don't know how to explain it.
I actually think this is exactly the market she's in right now.
Really?
Because when she does her art house stuff, she is the star. Yeah. When she does the bigger budget stuff, she will star alongside someone else. So I could absolutely see her taking this role.
Yeah, I guess.
If for no other reason than a way to expand her revenue stream and start funding other things. People also make that comparison because of her connection to the Bezoses. The Bezoses. I think it's funny because he doesn't really say what he means by that. Who is the demographic that wouldn't accept the African American James Bond?
Yeah, who is he talking about?
But he used the word woke, and it just got me to thinking, what does that mean in the year of our Lord, 2026? What does it mean to call something woke? Now, I am of the opinion, you guys know my thoughts on this, and I know that there will be people, if anybody ends up seeing this video after the fact, that will disagree with me wholeheartedly. The race swaps in the shows and the movies, they do not bother me as much as it bothers a lot of other people. Yeah. Unless they go through the process of making the characters focus around their race, if they make that fundamental change and then draw attention to it, that's a problem. But if the idea here is that you race swap and then suddenly he's British and he's another race and they do it, I understand why people will dislike it because it is disrespectful to the Bond lore. But my point is not really about whether it's permissible to you or I, who are part of, culture war-esque discussions about this stuff. The question is it permissible to the average everyday person? And I think that the average everyday person, unless you're making the story about social justice, doesn't notice. Now, Masters of the Universe isn't a good example because the movie didn't do all that great at the box office.
That's true.
But Olivia liked Man at Arms, despite the fact that that's a race swap character.
Because I didn't know the lore. I feel like if I knew he was race swapped, I didn't know that until we were leaving the theater.
Well, okay, so what's another show you like besides who's the most important character in The West Wing?
Most important, Josh Lyman. Josh Lyman.
Okay. What if they race swapped him? Would it matter?
Well, no. And I'll tell you why. They did a stage play version of a West Wing episode in 2020 to promote going out and voting. It was liberal propaganda. That being said, Sterling K. Brown played Leo McGarry because John Spencer died before the show even completed, mind you. And it only bothered me because Leo was such a,
So it did bother you a little bit?
Wait, it didn't bother me because he was black. It bothered me because I was so used to John Spencer. It wouldn't have bothered me, no matter who it was kind of like,
It would have bothered you either way.
Right, it wasn't about the race swapping. But Josh Lyman could have been black and it wouldn't have made his character any different or made me think, Dule Hill is in that show. And they point to his race, but they don't make it his. So was John Amos.
I mean, his race is a discussion in the pilot.
In the but they don't bring it up really after that, except for the storyline of Zoe, the president's daughter, dating him.
But isn't that a whole thing where white supremacists are mad that she's the president's dating?
Yes, but it's not because if the character had been they would have found a different way to make a storyline work. Whether it's a jealous fan base, there was ways to make the storyline work. They just geared it towards race because that's the easy out.
Well, and there's an out there because it doesn't matter because the character was originally written that way, so it makes perfect sense. But if they race swapped James Bond and then James Bond has to deal with white supremacists or something like that, and all of a sudden he's even more indignant than a person normally would be at violent white supremacists, and has to talk about it relating back to his upbringing as a black man.
That might be annoying
in Britain. That might be annoying to a lot of people because it's so far off from the material it doesn't matter.
Again, I get it, but it doesn't bother me.
In this case specifically.
Yes.
Look, going forward, I think that the bigger problem here is that you're probably going to get Zendaya as a Bond girl because Denis Villeneuve is directing this movie. He's worked with her before on Dune. Everybody is very high and mighty on Zendaya, even though the average everyday person feels about Zendaya the way they feel about Pedro Pascal, that they see him in everything and they don't quite know why. The average everyday person doesn't watch all of Zendaya's, art house films.
True.
They watch watch the stuff, all the big budget stuff that she's in, and they wonder, why is she in everything?
That's
I'm a
fair.
Zendaya defender here because for the most part she stays out of the muck when it comes to a lot of the stuff, and I appreciate that.
That's
but given Denis Villeneuve's directing, my guess is that you're going to end up having commentary of some sort around the idea of Zendaya ending up playing a Bond girl, though it would be funny to watch her and Sydney Sweeney fight about it. But I have no doubt that that we will not be seeing a race swap James Bond, but of course I could end up being wrong about this discussion. That's possible. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the newest trend that is absolutely going to screw over Gen Z.
Of course, another dating trend that's going to screw over Gen Z, as if we haven't told you guys enough, which I apologize. What is wildflowering? Well, it's Gen Z's latest dating trend that rejects romantic labels like boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, fiance. You name it, they don't want it, okay? It is not about hard launches, situationships, at least labeling them that way, or relationship status updates. The latest thing is putting down the rule book and seeing what happens. They have dubbed it wildflowering, in which they are trying to say, let romance grow naturally. No labels, no timeline, no pressure to define where things are heading. To me, that's a situationship, but whatever.
That's exactly what it is.
Think less 5-year plan, more. We'll see where this goes.
But isn't
so,
it's the problem that most people have?
Yeah, because it's non-committal, and it's people are I would love to actually date. I want to date, seriously date and get married, and it's let's just not do that. We'll see where it goes. So they're saying in an era where daters can spend hours dissecting text messages, comparing dating app strategies, and debating the exact moment to define the relationship, wildflowering is being pitched as an antidote to overthinking. The concept is simple. Stop trying to force a connection into a predetermined box and allow it to unfold at its own pace. Is that not what dating is?
There's
Am I insane?
There's a 20 here from BR Tidwell. Says, my contribution to the crisis
Hi.
count. Oh, see, we had peak 30 folks watching in an impromptu stage. Thanks for the support.
Yes, of course. That is where I got the Anthony Carmelo verdict, was from the Discord community. And thank you for doing the stage. Forgiveness, permission. You never, if it's breaking news like this, y'all never need my okay, as long as you have the right permissions to do so.
I imagine that as people get married later and later, and as plastic surgery and fillers can kind of obfuscate how old you look, more and more people find the idea of let's see where this goes attractive, because it doesn't force them to take a serious approach to dating.
I mean, yeah, probably. I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
They don't. It's already not serious, and you should want it to be serious.
Yes.
Right? Like, you should want dating to be serious, at least in this culture, or this this day and age. I don't even know. Like, back in my day, no, but like, you should be able to date. Yeah. And like, I feel like it is dating. Like, the reason this confuses me so much is because it feels like it already is dating. But they're using a certain language to kind of obfuscate the fact that that's just how dating. It's like everything has to have a term nowadays.
Well, and which is weird, because the generation that's desperate to give everything a label wants to talk about no labels, which makes no sense.
That makes no sense whatsoever.
And is bound to lead to people feeling a bit uneasy about where the relationship is going, because at least, and who do you think is more responsible for this? Who do you think is more likely to want to avoid labels and push it off into the future, men or women?
Women.
You think women are more likely to be like, oh, we shouldn't label this, let's just see where things go?
I think it depends. I think the modern day woman, yes, but I think historically men. I think the modern day woman is so much of like, oh, I want my thing to be like, it's me, it's on my terms, it's what I want to do.
I'm asking the chat, who hates relationship labels more, men or women?
I really think women. I think in this day and age of women going out and being more promiscuous than previous generations, it's women. Because they want to go sleep around and be whores. And
when do you think that started? Like
early 2000s.
So there was an episode of NCIS, can do that on the bingo card, where like Abby says like McGee asked where this relationship is going, and then she complains to Kate that she hates it when men do, and then Kate says, oh, I hate it when men do stuff like that. I'm like, so he asked a very logical question, where is our relationship heading? And you found that somehow offensive. That's the type of like hidden feminist propaganda that has been hitting women for at least the last 25 years.
I think like,
at least 25
but I think
years.
they hate when they ask the question because women primarily hate it more. They're like, why do you have to put a label on this? I mean, it's a relationship. That's the goal, is it not? What's the whole point in dating and being committed to someone?
Well, no, because they don't have any actual plan for the future, and they don't actually have any end goals in mind. They're just kind of going with it and seeing where things happen. So most of it is wildflowering, as they like to call it, because a great percentage of the population, it feels, aren't actually dating with the express desire to get married. They're dating to quote unquote see what's out there, and maybe they find somebody, maybe they don't. My career is really the most important thing in my life anyways, so I guess we'll just see what happens. Yeah,
it's really weird. It is super freaking weird. I feel bad for anybody dating nowadays, and I know like that's kind of something people that are married say like a lot, and I apologize for that. I genuinely do feel bad though. I really do, because now they're putting labels on anything. They're putting labels on things to not put labels on things.
How do you overcome this? Because we don't have a focus on getting married at a young age anymore. And to be fair to the argument, they're saying that marriages are lasting longer and the divorce rate is going down because people are being choosier and they're not just getting married because of societal pressure. They're waiting. Perhaps they're finding the right person. Maybe the fact that they're in better financial straits, in better financial situations later in life means that they don't have that type of stressor to cause a rift in the marriage. So what's the argument? argument here then? Is the argument to wait and see where it goes? Or do you take that approach? Do you wait and take the serious approach when you're older, and when you're younger, you say, I just want to see where this goes? Well, then the question is, if you are somebody who's in a different perspective, don't fall victim to the idea of her saying, well, I just want to see what happens. Be like, okay, then I'm going to move on. Or if he says, well, let's just see where things go.
Yeah,
like,
then move
that's
on.
not what I'm looking
That's
for.
not your kind of person. Yeah.
Move on. Because you're looking for something more serious. But the problem is, it doesn't feel like most people are looking for something serious. They're looking to just kind of go with things the way they are. You know, they'll focus on their job. They'll focus on their friendships and their relationships. And if love happens, and then you have to get into the online dating aspect of it, because it's a completely different experience for men than women on those platforms anyways.
That's true.
No wonder women don't want to put a serious label on it, because they have literally endless options on dating apps, and everybody is now falling victim to the idea of the grass is always potentially greener on the other side. No matter how good of a person you meet, maybe there's somebody that's just a little bit better than that person. And they're ignoring the fundamental, purpose of what they want, which is to build a life with someone. Instead, they're hoping to find somebody who becomes this sort of a la carte perfect fit, when likely the perfect fit isn't real.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect fit. You can be perfect together in a way that, like, it works for you. You make it work without being like, oh, that's my perfect person. Because, like, no one's perfect. No one's infallible. And so I understand what you're saying there.
And plus, the new generation is increasingly weary of dating apps. So where do you meet people to begin with? Now it's like you can only meet so many people at the local run club, and then you might give her the ick at the run club anyways.
The pickleball court.
The pickleball court. Well, I mean, that's for wealthy people, right? Isn't pickleball a bougie sport? Like, it's something that rich people who work, like, half-day jobs.
Yeah, but people really got into it. Like,
do we have any pickleball fans in the chat? I'll have to check here in a little bit.
Are you pickleballers?
There's got to be at least one pickleball here.
If you're a pickleballer, let us know.
What's some advice you would give people that if you were saying that they're trying to get married and settle down? I guess the first piece of advice would be, like, figure out if that's what you actually want right now and be honest with people. If it's not, be like, look, I'm not looking for a serious relationship. I don't even care about seeing where this goes, because let's see where this goes feels like somebody who's not serious just giving an excuse rather than an honest description of what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give for somebody if they're trying to figure this type of stuff out?
I mean, one is be picky, right? That is, of course, be very picky with who you are with. Assuming you have a good relationship, and this is more for women, trust your dad. It's a big one for me. Trust your dad. And trust your gut. If your gut tells you something's off in that, don't pursue it more and go against your instincts. Your instincts are normally pretty good. Your instincts are normally right. And don't date someone from Ohio. No, I'm kidding. But how to meet someone, that's like a tough one.
And it's got to be hard because I'm taken. So when the perfect person is off the market, like, what do you do?
I don't know. I feel bad for...
I feel like meetings, like, people, like, I feel like a hack would be meeting people in real life now. Given, like, the way
but
that
where?
the online...
Where and how? Other than, like, college, where and how?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, especially with the guard that is up with people... finding, like, meeting people in person to be creepy, and you really got to work from a young age on actually developing your skills with human beings to be able to approach somebody with that level of confidence. I saw, like, an X post the other day from, like, a woman who said, like, a college guy or somebody that was, like, much younger than she was asked her out, and she said, she's like, I'm taken, but I'm impressed by your level of, like, confidence to come out and ask.
Yeah.
And he left feeling, like, very excited about himself, like, that he had the guts to go out and ask.
Yeah, that's basically what my response would be. Just like, that was very nice of you to have the guts to ask that. I am taken, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Well, that was more, it was like, it was not like, I'm sorry that happened. It was just like, I'm impressed that you actually did that in person rather than sending wait, who was it? Hold on. There was somebody that I saw. Hold on, let me see if I can find this article about. I think it was Jennifer. Jennifer Lopez is like, if you want my love. Remember, she said love don't cost a thing. Love costs a thing.
It costs a thing
when it's Jennifer Lopez. Yeah, she says don't slide into her DMs if you want to date me. Hold on, I want to see what she has to say here.
We've been talking about love. I am kind of wondering. Do you check your DMs, Jennifer?
No.
You don't. What if, like, some amazing, like,
guy.
Spanish soccer player DMs you?
Ooh. I think they would be able to find me, no?
No.
I mean, if he really wanted to find me, he could find me.
Really?
See, you don't want to get called creepy though.
Not
Pretty
through
would, right.
Instagram.
No, you're not gonna find me through Instagram or sliding into my DMs. no.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You have to make more of an effort than that.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I
All
think
right.
So.
Yeah, bravo.
Yeah, come
Okay. All right.
They were trying to do the relationship romance arc with her and Brett Goldstein, who she's in this new rom-com with. Yeah.
And then it wasn't working.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. It's I feel like the idea that less labels on the relationship is a good thing is detrimental to everyone involved because it leaves everyone anxious about what the relationship actually means. And in lieu of actually having like a clear idea of what you're shooting for by the end of the relationship, the least you can do for each other is to have like an actual label so that you know that you're not just kind of something but maybe nothing.
Right.
All right, guys, let us go to Super Chats, and then we will hang out. It's about 4:40, so we got some time here. All right, I'm going to go over here on Rumble quick, because I saw a couple over there. Let me see what is going on. All right, from Broody Gambit, as always, my friend over there, says... While the toys versus tech debate is an interesting story to be told, it really is just modernized version of the cowboys versus space age hero evolution from Toy Story 2.
Okay.
I always loved that part, and I'm not a huge Toy Story person, but I did love the first Toy Story. Cookie Don over on Rumble says, not to defend the journalist, but the first 2 seasons did have a formula, but even during a time when you couldn't binge, it was during a time when you couldn't binge watch TV and needed a week for the next episode. Season 3 changed formula though. Yeah, okay, so I mean, it was actually in season 4 when they switched formula and they brought on the new interns onto the show. But a lot of people, funnily enough, on House, they ended up finding that to be the worst part of it. Like, the show, to me, got less interesting when they started spending more and more time with the characters outside of the hospital, because the things that made the characters interesting, at least for me personally, was the way that the moral quandaries brought up by the patients brought out something in each of the doctors. So that interesting dynamic was tied directly to the to the hospital itself. And then once you got outside of the hospital, like especially after season 6, once House gets sober, it lost a lot of its interest to me, and it started to feel more like what you were doing was a bunch of gags rather than anything truly evocative, which I did find a lot in those first 3 or 4 seasons to find evocative. Broody Gambit says, that is my least favorite trope. I've quit shows because of it. The only time I have liked it was playing the Innsmouth Conspiracy for the Arkham Horror card game. I don't know which trope you're talking about specifically. You would have to let me know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just going to read this one from DJ Dubs. This wasn't a super chat. He says, call me a contrarian, but I actually like the flash forward scenes that play with the present day scenes. I like the breakdown. Yeah, look, it's just, that's a personal thing for me. A lot of shows do that trope. It's just never been one that I've been particularly fond of, but I can see why it works for some people, because it's like the idea is like, how did we get here? Like, how did we get to this place that we're in?
That makes sense.
So... Marcus says, woke in 2026 just means non-white, gay female.
Gay or female.
Gay or female. I disagree,
no.
and I guess my point is that everybody has a different definition for what that word is, which is why you should be more specific with what your critiques are for the sake of, a better understanding.
Yeah.
Broody Gambit says, Will Smith's Deadshot in Suicide Squad was also a race swap, and it wasn't a big deal. The writers didn't focus on it in the movie, so it didn't grate the viewers. Yes, one of my that's a great one that you brought up, and it's one that I should have used as an example earlier. One of the reasons that I also think that it works with Will Smith has guaranteed name recognition, which means even if you're somebody who's necessarily weary of the race swap, you can at least understand there's a verifiable reason why a producer would do something like that. It may be, if it's somebody you've never heard of and they're an actor of like varying levels of skill to which people can be subjective about, like you can be critical of it because you're like, why would they do that when there could have been a great actor who looked just like the character was designed? But if you race swap and you choose somebody like a Will Smith or an Idris Elba, you're like, look, That guy's got name recognition. That guy's got star power. There's at least plausible deniability in the argument built in when you race swap a character with an actor that everybody has heard of. All right, Shane H. Wilder says, Happy Taco Tuesday, Dasovix. My friend Sean Bryan, Papal Ninja, placed 4th in American Ninja Warrior Western Qualifier and is going to the regional semis. Cool.
That's pretty lit.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, dude.
We had a gifted membership from Crouching Taylor Hidden, and I believe that it gifted it to yourself, which is hilarious.
Nice.
All right. Shane H. Wilder says, reset the house counter. Also, does a journo not know to put the actor in parentheses and when talking about the plot, refer to the character name? I would screw that up, but I'm not a journalist. I would screw that up.
Yeah, I would probably screw it up.
All right. TN Frame says, if you guys have a slow news day on Timcast, look into the Webster, New York pride flag controversy. The gays lowered the American flag to put their flag up.
Oh, that happened in a lot of different places. It happened like in Michigan. I saw a lot of videos of it when Pride Month started.
They raised it above the American flag?
Yeah.
Shocking.
Or took the American flag down entirely.
Katie says, how is your arm, Olivia? May God heal your arm. I hope you are not sore today.
Oh, babe, I'm so sore. Babe as in Katie, babe, not you, babe. Katie, babe. I call all women friends, babe, by the way. So, my knee is messed up. My arms are still super sore. And this is so sore. Every time I bump it on something, I can feel it right now and it hurts really bad. But thank you.
Got to be careful when walking at night.
Especially on uneven. I should sue the city.
I mean, maybe there's an argument there. Like, why is there no street lights above there? Like, it's dark. That's like one of the few areas there that's really dark.
I should threaten them.
Like we have, like, I actually made the point on IRL last night. Like, when I go running, we're lucky to live in a city that's really, really well lit. So I can go run at night when the weather cools down and not have to worry about it. But that area back there in particular is
Maybe I'll make an
pitch
angry
black.
Facebook post on the community group and see if anyone suggests what I should do about it.
Going full Karen.
Dude,
you can do it.
that hurt.
Mm.
That shit hurt. I was gushing blood. Like, it was like dripping down.
Mm. I always made the joke that I want to be the first person to actually sue as a skater who got hurt someplace. Like, if I ever got hurt someplace, because that's the reason they kick you out. If you go skate on private property, they kick you out because they don't want to incur the liability of you getting hurt and then suing them on their property. I always thought that was ridiculous as somebody who believes that personal responsibility matters. Like, I'm not going to sue the city or sue some private business because I got hurt skating on their property. I literally made the choice to go and do this.
Yeah.
But I can't make that argument to the security guard because he's gonna be like, look, that doesn't matter. Like, I can't just take you at your word that you believe in taking responsibility for your own actions.
Yeah.
So, but I would have I always joked about that. All right. Pop Culture Junkie says, regarding Supergirl tickets, be wary of advanced sale comparisons versus data usefulness due to differences in number of theaters film is premiering in. Thank you. Expand on that if you can in the chat. I would like to read more about what you can teach me. I'm always happy to learn from you because you seem to know everything about the industry.
Yeah.
So if you've got more details, I would appreciate that because I like to cover this type of stuff. Shane H. Wilder says, no colored bed sheets? Racist.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yep. Pop Culture Junkie says, blame Alias and J.J. Abrams for Flash backwards trend. Yeah, I never cared in Alias because it was so baked into the formula that it didn't bother me, but it is true. You know, another show that did it, where it didn't bother me, was the show called Flash Forward. I'm sorry, Flashpoint. With Enrico Colantani and Hugh Dillon, where basically it's about this. As much does Canada have a TAC team? They're too nice in Canada to need TAC teams. But basically, it's what they call the Strategic Response Unit, and they're both a TAC team, but also like hostage negotiators. And they will show like every episode starts the same way. Somebody's having the worst day of their life, and everything's about to go wrong, and they're about to get the call at the precinct with with this crime that's happening. And then it goes, and it does and then it flashes back. And you meet back with the team right before they're about to get the call about this person who they just saw in the intro to the show. All right, Shane H. Wilder says, is having a public PCC meme playlist that includes Matthew Mason's song Cringe and Ick?
Yes.
There you go.
Sorry, I just felt like that was. Yep. Sorry.
Okay. Brian Bledsoe, pull it up here. Brian Bledsoe says, my anticipated movies, The Odyssey, Spider-Man, The Dog Stars, I don't know what that is, Street Fighter, when is that one coming out? I don't know. Doomsday, Dune. When is Street Fighter coming out? It's like October, I think. That's like the only one I'm excited about is Street Fighter. Doomsday, Dune. Only interested in Disclosure Day because Emily Blunt is one of my favorite actresses. Yes, Emily Blunt is great. I like Emily Blunt a lot, except for the fact that I'm thinking of Rebecca Ferguson more than him. No, wait, who was it from Fall Guy? If it was Emily Blunt from Fall Guy,
I believe so.
Yes, Emily Blunt is good. T-Bone says, Bestie, you should be the next Bond girl.
I don't have the tits for that.
Well, I don't know if that's like a prerequisite. But.
I don't have the tits for it. But thanks, T-Bone. Thank you, Bestie.
Shane H. Wilder says, so wildflowering's just people wanting an F-buddy. They don't want the commitment, but they're scared of being alone and wonder why they still feel hollow.
Yeah, I guess so.
After a fashion.
Indeed.
After a fashion. T-Bone adds, the dating field sucks. Tried for 10 years and got sent a text when she ended it. A year later, I still don't know why.
Yeah, I remember
I would stop worrying about it. I would put it out of your mind. It doesn't matter. The why doesn't matter. What matters is how you respond after the fact. It's better to move on rather than dwell in that case.
But I'm sorry. That does suck.
That does suck.
Ow, fuck me. I'm sorry. I hit my hand and that really hurt. That one was really bad. Oh. Yes. Sorry, buddy.
All right. Shane H. Wilder says, pickleballer, I thought there's a cream for that now. Okay.
Can we move on?
Yes.
I hated that.
Mike says, Roadhouse. All right.
Okay.
We are all caught up on Super
Are
Chats.
we?
We are all caught up.
All right, you guys, you want to know my pet project right now that none of you care about, but I'm going to tell you anyway? I'm going to learn ASL.
Because of Sue Thomas?
I've always wanted to learn it, and that, like, reinvigorated it. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about going back to school again. That's like back in my brain.
Where would you find the time?
Well, you can do like an online class that's not like you have to sit down in front of a computer, but it's like self-paced pretty much, and you can get a degree doing that. And so I'm like, do I go back and get my doctorate, my PhD? It wouldn't cost me anything. There's a fund set aside.
But you can take an ASL course even if you're not in school, right? Like
sure, but that would be more of like a self-teach myself things. Like I would have to teach myself like online or whatever. Like there's like tons of online programs you can do. As far as like a master's or a second master's or a PhD, I would have to do it. That's so weird. One of my dog sitter people just texted me. I heard from them in like 2 months, but I requested a bunch of information at different places. I would absolutely love to do it. It's just something I'm interested. Like I would love to do like national security administration type stuff. Sounds super fun for me. So
she wants to work. She doesn't want to do national security administration. She wants to go work for the National Security Agency. She wants to be a
I
Fed.
would love to like. It just sounds, I don't know. Like I want to learn more about what these degrees actually entail, but it sounds kind of fun. I am gonna start teaching myself Spanish again too.
Guys, we're almost at a crisis party. Let's go. Rumble Rains don't count over there. Grog Bear the Fearsome says, assuming there's a relationship we're in to discuss. What? Assuming there's a relationship we're into, discuss where it's going is a bold assumption.
I think he's saying discussing that the audience is in a relationship to discuss relationship topics with is a bold assumption. I hope I did that right for you. Yeah. Chat, should I do ASL?
I can't teach you anything. I remember pretty much none of what I took it for two years and I forgot all of it.
B
yeah.
C D
yeah.
D.
So just tell everybody hi, my name is.
Oh, I can do hi, my name's Olivia.
There you go.
That I can do, and I can say deaf. I think hearing is like, I don't know, and then this is food. This is father, mother.
We got a super chat here from Pop Culture
Okay,
Junkie.
continue.
Says, on occasions, you can have low advance ticket sales where a film is not getting the typical nationwide launch in terms of number of theaters. I mean, is that the case for Supergirl, though? Because I imagine as a DC release, it's going to go wide right away, and they're not going to start with a small release and then move into a wider release. I could be wrong about that, but I just assumed that Supergirl was getting one big release date and it was all going to go wide at the same time. But I get what you're saying. That makes perfect sense. I appreciate the granular analysis there.
Indeed.
Yes. All right. Let me double check over here. Make sure that we are caught up over there. Who's the guest on IRL tonight?
Alex Stein.
Is there a green room tonight?
I don't know. Yes, tentatively, but that could change depending on Alex's schedule.
All right.
I'm never going to say yes because things change. And then someone's like, you said he would be here. And I'm like, I thought he would be. So I'm just going to say maybe.
Possibly. A big maybe.
We did do an impromptu live with Tim today.
Yeah,
in the
tell everybody
Discord
about
server. Yeah, so Tim was downstairs skating, and I was like, I have a couple minutes. So I went down and said, hey, Tim, mind if I hop on the Discord and do a live event while we're down here? He's like, I'm just skating. I was like, yeah, that's the point, dude. That's what people want. He's like, okay, cool. So we did. Hung out for a little bit. Hung out with Andy and Cody, who's injured, which sucks, and Tim. And then Brett appeared in there. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And those events can never be scheduled because some people are going to be like, when's he going to do it again? I don't know. But you should turn on notifications for events, and for the stage specifically, if you could figure out how to do that specifically to the stage, turn that on. We were going to do a pre-thing today. I had too much I had to get done on my back end of things with the Discord before. Thursday, we're planning on doing that. Again, it's a new thing, so please give us... Also, like, I wish there was a different device I could use because I use my phone at work, and so if I have to use my phone for it, like, I can't use my phone. So we're going to figure it out. I might use the Booties phone if they're not making content that day. Just ask if I can borrow it. But we had a lot of fun, but you're always going to want to be active and turn those notifications on for the Discord. Yeah, you'll get some pings. Sucks to suck, but you never know what ping is going to be like Tim Pool.
There's another super chat here from Shane H. Wilder. Says the Carmelo Anthony trial has picked back up. They are starting the sentencing phase, and the defense is trying to argue it was, quote, sudden passion. So the guest last night, Andrew, is it Branca or Branca? I thought he said it differently. We actually had a moment where I asked him which one it was, and he's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's like he basically said, like, he's like me, where it's like never even bother correcting people if they get it wrong. Like, I never correct people if they
Andrew
say Dasovic
Branca.
wrong. But he said he made a really, really, like, as a lawyer, he explained, like, why it was premeditated and why premeditation doesn't necessarily mean, like, you went out with a shopping list of, like, stuff to buy. It was very, very interesting, obviously.
Bringing a knife to a place in which you would not reasonably need a knife, and you're not carrying it as... First of all, you're like a minor, and second of all, it wasn't like a knife that was a typical like tool. The knife itself was specific to cause harm, and that's premeditation, and the fact that it makes sense that I'm trying to.
It was very interesting.
You know
like people should watch last night's IRL, and because we did.
He explains it a lot better than we will.
It was very, very interesting, but I thought that was really good. All right. Going back through here with the chat here. Burned Oil said you are a great addition to the show.
Thank you, Burned Oils. You're a great addition to the chat. I don't know how long you've been here, but
he was found. They're talking about Carmelo Anthony.
He was found guilty,
but the point is now they're focusing on
Sentencing.
the sentencing aspect, which we'll figure
It's
out.
too harsh on this poor kid, this poor black kid. You mean this poor black kid that stabbed a kid in the chest and right through his heart, that died in his brother's arms? Sure, yeah, poor kid.
All right.
And then ran from the cops. Ooh, poor kid.
Let's. I'm gonna check Rumble really quick one more time here and just make sure that we are all caught up on everything. It looks like we are. All right, guys. Before we go, would you hit the like button on this episode, please, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. If you don't get a chance to watch the lives every day, go and if you're subscribed, check out some of the segments that come out. We clip everything. We put them out for everybody to see. Also, remember that if you want to, like when we do movie reviews. What we've been doing is we do a live movie review for everybody to see, spoiler, breakdown, all that stuff. They usually go about an hour long. Then they go members only after we're live. You can listen to the audio version of it on the audio platforms, but if you want to watch the whole thing, including going back and forth with the chat, all that stuff, Thank you guys. But if you if you want to catch
I keep forgetting to
yes.
watch the thing.
If you want to catch the full-length live spoiler movie reviews that we do, like I said, live, not pre-recorded, again, you can watch them live. If you're on YouTube, you don't have to be a member for that, but it becomes members only after the fact. But if you want to listen to it, we then put it up on the audio platforms after the fact. But if you want to watch the video version and you don't get a chance to watch it live, you have to be a PCC channel member here on YouTube. Also, as Olivia keeps mentioning, the Timcast Discord, which we have consistently been I've been trying to post more in the PCC Discord stuff there, and I am doing a bi-weekly, every other week. I don't know which one it is.
Every other Saturday.
Every other Saturday, a 1-hour show on the Discord at 7 p.m., doing a little bit of talk about pop culture news and then taking questions or having a discussion with the people that are in the chat, which is a lot of fun. So you should go and become a member over there. But
Yeah,
Olivia,
you
where
should.
can they find you?
So you guys can find me personally. That's at Olivia Dasovic, both on X and on Instagram. You guys can find me on the Timcast Discord, timcast.com/Discord or timcast.com. Hit join us. Become a member, $10 a month, $25 a month, whatever you can do, we will take. Become a member of our exclusive members-only Timcast Discord server, where you get to talk to us right before the show. You get to talk to us during the green room, third chair stuff, pre-show, all of that good stuff. And you can call in and talk to Tim and the guest, and you can tell Brett whatever you want on that call-in. I don't care. Do it. I'm not there to stop. Actually, I am there. I pick the call-ins. But you know what I mean. Go do that. I'm hanging out. Mocha's hanging out. We're all hanging out. I would love to see you guys there. So again, that is timcast.com/Discord. Get onboarded, and I will see you guys there.
Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That is a great way to help the channel out. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.